Hello and welcome to Banking Frontiers Live. We are in for a great conversation in the area of wealth tech today. And I am today sitting with the CEO of a very innovative fintech from a very conservative or a very focused group in the area of financial services, that is the Kotak Group. Kotak Group has come out with its new wealth tech called as Kotak Cherry. And I am sitting with Mr. Srikanth Subramanian, who is the CEO of Kotak Cherry, and he will be sharing some deep insights on how the Kotak Group has been marrying its legacy along with innovations and bringing sustainability and responsibility to the world of fintech and wealth tech. Mr. Srikanth Subramanian, welcome to Banking Frontiers Live.
Babu, thank you and a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much, Srikanth. You have formed this very recently in June 2022. What made you launch this and how has the journey of building this investment tech platform been for you?
So, Babu, as most of our users in India would also be aware that we as a group, Kotak Mahindra Group, has been very active in the area of investment solutions and wealth management for a fairly long period of time. And what we also realize is that while wealth management in its true sense was limited to a limited few in terms of the absolute HNI and UHNI client base, we thought it's also time to truly democratize the availability of organized wealth management as a practice to a much broader Indian demographics rather than having it limited only to the ultra HNIs and the HNIs of the country. And we also realize that the economic model to serve multiple such clients, both on the affluent and the mass affluent segment, can only be successfully done if one embraces technology in full gusto. Kotak as a group has also found reasonable success in our online banking foray, which everyone now will famously recollect. We branded it as 811. So as a group, after reasonably having seen success in our online banking platform and also being a reasonable wealth management player for about 2 decades, we thought it's time for us to combine the two provinces, which is to use our journey in wealth management and customer understanding and use our learning in how to use technology to take financial services to the masses, connect the two, and we thought that it could be a very interesting platform.
Wonderful. Actually, you have a very good head start with Kotak Group being associated with you, and you already are miles ahead in the race there. But if you see the route of wealth management or wealth tech, this has been very popularly taken up since the evolution of fintech way back in 2012 onwards. I have seen a lot of fintechs with various incubators who have gone into this. Now, what is it that will make you a little different from all this? Because in terms of technology, of course, I can understand the legacy, but how are you marrying that legacy and technology together? What is different in the technology that you are trying to bring?
Most of the, and you're absolutely correct that I don't think we are the first ones to offer Investec as a solution or as a platform. But what does make us unique, and I think at some stage that will remain one of our cornerstones as we sort of move forward, is most of the technology companies are not from the domain of investments, they are more from the domain of technology. And similarly, most of the traditional wealth management players are not from the domain of technology, but are from the domain of investments. And we truly believe that for high knowledge sectors, we truly believe sectors such as investments, such as healthcare also for that matter, the domain will have a very important role to play, because ultimately investment can only be provided by people who've been in capital markets for a very long period of time, have seen good times and bad times in equal measures, and are able to use their domain to give a very organized solution to investors rather than being on extremes on other side. At the same time, that sometimes the mistakes that we've seen incumbents make is to not embrace technology the way technology firms have successfully shown us, which is to make sure that Customer convenience is normally at the heart of it. The choice of products is usually given to customer to feel very comfortable. The pricing is done in a fashion that the customers feel that the product is something that is well viable at the cost that it is being offered. The anytime, anywhere part of technology is also something that we've learned from high quality technology companies is very important. So I think from our point of view, we are very clear that what we will take out of our experience is the strong focus on domain and making sure that introduction of products at various point of time will be keeping in mind market cycles rather than, let's say, being a one trick pony that we will only offer stocks irrespective of whether stock markets is good or bad. We will only offer equity irrespective of whether it's a great time to offer equity or not. So I think we are going to use all our consumer insights and domain to make sure that the right products are offered to customers at the right time. There will be a lot of focus on curation, either by our partners or at an appropriate time by ourselves as well. At the same time, the embracing of technology for us, it's not only for simple execution or simple onboarding, but also the way the user interface and the user experience of Cherry will be. And I invite all of you to try. It's already live on both the Android and the Apple Store today. The user interface is very similar to how you would expect any technology company to have created technology. In fact, almost 60% of our team is made of technology engineers and people who have spent a lot of time understanding consumer behavior from a technology point of view. So whether it is to do with a lot of focus on online education, whether it's to do with a lot of focus on very interesting user interface and user experience, you will find the technology part of it being very similar to high quality tech firm, and you will find the domain part of it very similar to what you would expect with someone from a Kotak background to be. So I think for us, the key really is the coming together of these two aspects: very strong technology for consumer ease and very strong domain knowledge for consumer protection, which is what we think is one area that was missing. And I think if we can get that act right, we can offer consumers the safety of making investments using our domain, but in the same convenient manner that they expect of technology companies. I think we would have done our job.
Interesting. So, is there anything specific you have been doing to marry this innovation disruption with that of responsibility?
See, we are a firm which thinks like a startup, but in a different sense, we are also a firm which comes on a very strong foundation and very strong cornerstone of being a bank, which is a multi-decadal old bank. So the responsibility part of it comes more naturally to us. The overall sphere of disruption and innovation extremely responsibly, because what ends up happening is what we saw before the market tightened in terms of what we are now calling famously, or maybe in future we will use the word infamously as funding winter, is we saw many of these early stage fintech companies innovate and disrupt, whereas no real model existed. So what ends up happening is the cornerstone of your disruption, it's only and only around pricing, or your cornerstone of disruption is only and only around a feature which may or may not be the most relevant feature from a long-term wealth creation point of view. Those kind of disruptions will only have short legs, and what ends up happening is ultimately the investors who jumped on board because of initial short-term euphoria that one created, that everything is available for free, they are the investors, unfortunately, who are left wanting for more, because in times like this, when some of these fintech companies do not get adequate capital, they have not created adequate business models, and they find it very difficult to move forward with the same pricing disruption model or with the same feature disruption model, which was not really a very strong fundamental feature, could find it difficult to continue to service those customers. And at that point of time, the customers would have moved to these fintechs for getting services. And if the fintechs themselves are not built for a perpetual sustainable business model, they will find it very difficult to service these investors. So we are very conscious of the fact that while some of these fintechs and startups have also done an outstanding job of, as I said, creating a platform of customer convenience. We want to marry that with our own philosophy of building sustainable businesses, building businesses which will allow us to service investors for a very long period of time. And investors can feel the comfort that while dealing with Cherry, they will find the overall user interface as seamless as they would find it with any of the fintech startups that one can allude to. But they can be very reasonably sure that Cherry by Kotak is here to stay for a long time, because we will
Wonderful.
only create value and not focus unnecessarily on valuation.
Wonderful. So how do you marry both this and make this possible, and at the same time give the customer a confidence that you are not here only to sell Kotak products, but the entire group products?
Actually, that's something that Kotak as a group has done beautifully well for the last 2 decades that we have been in wealth management as a space. We have always been known for an open architecture investment solution, which means that there are divisions within the group, there are companies within the group who solely focus on manufacturing high quality products, be it mutual funds, be it other alternative investment funds, be it insurance products. And then there are parts of the group which have focused on pure distribution or pure dissemination of some of these investment solutions to investors. The marriage between the two has always been such that one has the manufacturing companies has used the distribution and the investment solutioning arm of the group to make sure that the right products are given to the right customers. But at the same time, the distribution arm and the investment solutioning arm of the group have always maintained seeking the right products from Kotak Group companies, but also in right proportion. So one look at the Kotak Cherry landing page will give you that answer, that when we have mutual funds, when we have stocks, when we have bonds, all these have got all the mutual funds available, which we think will pass the muster of a good quality offering for our customer. Similarly, all bonds are available, which we think are bonds which should be part of a high quality platform like Cherry, and so on and so forth. So investment system will continue to be open architecture, which has always been the case, even when we were running our offline wealth management ecosystem in India.
Wonderful. What is that industry first that you want to bring in, or what is that industry first that Kotak Cherry has to offer?
We actually, instead of jumping into what is the first, what we want to be known for is India's first true wealth tech platform. I think there are pure product-led fintechs that are there, fintechs which are known for a single product journey, which they have done exceptionally well. So fintechs who do extremely well on stocks, fintechs who do extremely well on mutual funds, or fintechs who are trying to do well on bonds. But what we understand is that true investment solutions and true wealth management is not about offering a single product, but it is about offering a multitude of options and letting investors build wealth over long periods of time. And even in a market like this, where equities can be a little testy for some time to come, or it was a little testy for the last 1 year, where markets have been consolidating in a sideways range. But at the same time, one looked at what is happening on the bond side, the yields are at extremely interesting levels. So what we want to be known for as we move forward is, I don't think we will fuss too much about being the first, but we will fuss too much about making sure that we are known for the right reasons, which offer all the relevant products that are available at various different cycles of the market, rather than robbing the investor of their choice and only selling one product because that is the only product we understand. So that is essentially how we want to build it, with a customer first approach around Kotak Cherry.
Great. That is wonderful. And since you see India is also going towards or inching towards becoming one of the major superpowers in the area of fintech, I think as of now, it is the third largest fintech market. And the world is itself heading towards 500 billion plus in when it comes to fintech market size in the near future in 2030. What trends do you see in the wealth tech and the fintech sector in the future to come?
So I think account aggregation is going to change the way fintechs are dispensing their services currently to investors. I think one of the key things that we are focusing towards fintech as the platform will be the overall adoption of tech stacks like account aggregation. It will throw the power of choice, throw the power of right product, right solution at the customer end like it has never been done before. And what will happen is large incumbent groups who have been dealing with an investor for a long period of time will worry that at the click of one button, the long-standing data can move to very strong fintech providers, which is true, but it will also mean that some of these long-standing financial institutions, be it banks or NBFCs, will also spend a lot to make sure that the mining of data, massaging of data, to use that data to give better services of customers will happen. At the same time, fintech companies, which anyways have nothing to lose and only to gain from these data coming to them, will also use high quality technology to give better choices to customers. So in the end, account aggregation will leave only one winner, which is the end investor. And I think for any industry, that is the best result that one can achieve in. So one of the big trends I'm seeing is account aggregation. Second, I think in one of the questions you yourself asked, we unfortunately saw a lot of fintechs in India do a great job, while majority of them have outstanding business models, have actually shown that with good quality business platforms, large Indian demographics can come onto their platform to, and the overall objective of financial inclusion can be achieved. But in some cases, we also saw over zestful financial models being created, which didn't have too much sustainability. So I do believe that as we move forward, fintechs with sustainable business models will also emerge. And the last part in my mind is because of the point second, which I just mentioned, of sustainable business models, I won't rule out some degree of consolidation that may happen in fintech world, which will make sure that the stronger players with customer first approach and not just innovating and disrupting for the sake of it will emerge as a strong playing ground for the investor to have their best choice of investment solutions.
Absolutely wonderful. I think that is a very good sum up of how your vision can be for the future. Thank you very much for this wonderful conversation. And we look forward to more such interesting insights from you in our near conversations in the future.
Thank you. Thank you, Babu. It was really a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for inviting me.